The Shepnaz Podcast begins now.
Welcome to the Shepnaz Podcast. I'm Joe, and I'm your host today, and I have with me Pastor Brett, who has some exciting news about our upcoming egg hunt. We've been somewhat clever in our naming of this because instead of calling it an Easter egg hunt and giving the confusion that it's not actually on Easter,
yeah.
It's kind of a Palm Sunday egg hunt. But before we get into all those details, Pastor Brett has become fully educated and prepared on egg hunt trivia, perhaps.
More or less.
And I didn't even know that was something to be found. So
It's out there, Joe.
okay, first of all, you were telling me something before we started about, now the origin of Easter Island.
Oh, yeah.
So what's that about?
So Easter Island, a lot of people are familiar with this island. It's the island with the giant sculpture heads that are there. It actually got its name because it was discovered by the Dutch explorers on Easter Sunday of 1722. So in the past, it seems like such a weird and random name because it doesn't have anything to do with the resurrection of Christ as far as I know.
But it just happened to be on Easter
It just
Day
happened to be on Easter.
So,
Yeah.
hey, there's an island, so we'll call it Easter Island. All right, so that's factoid number one
Yep.
of the egg hunt trivia that we've identified.
Guess that's what we're calling it.
So now you had also mentioned you were discovering some of perhaps the traditions and things that people kind of have as reflections and memories of Easters of the past. So do you have a bunch of particular Easter memories or egg hunt memories?
Yeah. So as probably some of the listeners and viewers know, I grew up at this church, so I remember a lot of the egg hunts of recent decades that Shepherd has been through. And it was definitely an exciting time, and I'm happy and excited for it to be back. So I remember doing egg hunts here. I also, my family did this thing for a while, my mom and dad, my sister and I, where we had Easter baskets, and I remember my sister and I hiding each other's Easter baskets. It was it was just a tradition that we did where our parents would give it to us and we would hide it for our siblings. And that lasted for about as long as it could last with only so many hiding places.
Yeah.
They said you can't hide it at the tippy top of the tree in the front yard or anything crazy like that. So it was in the deck box behind the garage. And that was about it, Joe.
Nice.
What about you? Any Easter traditions, good memories?
Oh, I've got a ton. I don't know about a lot of traditions, but definitely I've seen a lot of things. As you may know, my wife is very crafty.
Yeah.
And so as the kids were growing up, she made Easter baskets for them.
That's awesome.
And so, but they're baskets. They definitely look like baskets, but they're not baskets in the sense of round with handles, like what
top.
you would think of,
Okay.
when you're seeing the ones that are store bought. It's more like shoebox size.
Okay.
And kind of rectangular like that. And then she has decorated the insides with fabric and
whoa.
and then the outside is woven and so all the kids had those. Now we did want to reconsider the design after a while because we realized it held a lot of stuff. And
yeah,
it's well, you got to get the kids a lot of stuff to fill these things out.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, that was kind of something special. And she is always so much better than me at that kind of stuff,
Sure.
doing those things that make it special for the kids. And I can remember as when I was a young kid, I can remember having Easter egg hunts at my grandmother's house on my mom's side. And they had a large backyard, and I had a lot of cousins. We had enough cousins to have our own Easter egg hunt. I had 18.
It was competitive?
18?
Oh, my goodness. Wow, yeah.
So, it was a yard full. And especially by the time you got all the aunts and uncles out there and stuff. It was a lot.
That'd be a fair amount of eggs too.
Yeah, it was. And these were not plastic eggs filled with candy. These are
hard-boiled eggs.
Oh, yes.
What?
Yes.
That's awesome.
So that was out there. So that's one of my Easter memories. In more recent years, my wife's stepmom kind of introduced this concept, and I thought it was really interesting, was that they, instead of hiding, we would do like we would hide eggs around the house or whatever. Well, what they did is, to make it more discreet, is they would hide jelly beans. And
wow.
Yeah.
That's hard.
And
for kids?
Well, it was probably as much for the adults as it was for the kids.
Yeah.
And so like you'd see a jelly bean sitting on a windowsill somewhere or whatever. Now, I can say there is a fallacy with this plan, because sometime in July, you're going to find some nasty jelly beans.
Yeah,
somewhere.
I mean, it happens with eggs. That's exactly what I was thinking. Jelly beans, you're going to be finding those till next Easter for sure.
Yeah, for sure that happens.
That's great.
It was kind of a cool idea. Do you have a favorite Easter candy?
Oh, okay, yeah. I mean, this is really a no contest question for me.
Oh, really?
I am a big jelly bean guy. I love jelly beans, and I grew up. My mom, more than liking chocolate, has always been kind of like the fruitier candy person, and so I grew up with jelly beans. Like there's like Starburst jelly beans; those are really good. Like Sour Patch, like all of the crazy out there jelly beans. That's my jam.
Now, do you go with the gourmet ones that are like the weird flavors?
Like Jelly Belly has some really out there ones.
Yeah.
I'm not as big of a fan of that. Just give me the watermelon and the lime and all that stuff.
Right. You have me on the Starburst ones. Those of the current offerings, those are definitely
those are good.
Those are my favorite. Would probably be the Starburst. But there was a time when there was a lady at our church who was the mom of one of my really close friends, and she made Easter chocolates every year.
Oh, okay.
And so like that was a very big process. Like they had molds, the plastic molds, and they would do white chocolate and do milk chocolate and then pour it into the molds and put sticks in it.
Oh, okay.
Wrap it up, and we would give it to kids at church. So like that was a pretty big deal. So that was one of those memories. But
that's pretty cool.
And you had asked me before we started recording, like you had heard about this thing of sunrise services.
Oh, yeah.
So have you ever experienced such a thing?
No. It would have seemed crazy to me as a kid, but I think now I would definitely be more open to it just because I'm up before the sun most days anyways. But I have never, to my knowledge, ever been to a sunrise church service.
All right, so I can't speak to how every church does it.
Sure.
But growing up as a PK, I saw my share of sunrise services for sure. And let me just give you the rundown. So typically, back in the day, you would have, a lot of times in kind of modern church services, we have two worship services, and during those worship services, you have kids' men that's going on at the same time.
Right.
Well, a generation back, it was more like you would have Sunday school, and that would include adults would have Sunday school classes and kids would have Sunday school classes, and then you would have a worship service.
Right.
And during the worship service, maybe the kids were included, or maybe the kids were going off to their own program during that part, or some mixture of the two. So on Easter Sunday, what you would do is before Sunday school, you would have another service on Easter morning.
Oh, man.
And like it was truly a sunrise service. Now, the tradition came from, that Mary and Martha had gone to the tomb early on that morning, and James and John and Peter, Peter and John had run to the tomb early in the morning. So that was the tradition of like, we want to be there at that time when Jesus arose. Yeah. So you literally were at church to see the sunrise. Yeah. So around our part of the country, like that meant that sunrise service was normally around 6 a.m. And so you would have a few of, the frozen chosen that would show up and be part of the sunrise service. And what would happen over the years, many churches did this, including the one that I went to, was that sunrise service would be over and you'd be like, wow, like we got another hour and a half before Sunday school's going to start. No. And so you would get done with sunrise service and you'd have a breakfast.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
And so we would all have Easter breakfast together and then go to Sunday school and then have worship service. So like growing up, Easter morning was like a marathon church time because it started at sunrise and it went until you were done with worship service.
Yeah.
But a lot of good memories from that. In fact, we still to this day use one of the recipes from the Easter breakfast that we would have because we had devised this plan where it's like, you don't want all of the people having to show up like at 4:00 in the morning to prepare breakfast for everybody that's going to be there for service. So how do you handle this? Well, what we ended up doing is we found one of the ladies in our church had a recipe for a breakfast casserole. And it was, you basically take eggs and bread and bacon and cheese and all the good stuff, or sausage, depending on the variety that you want. And you could prep that overnight and then just stick it in the oven in the morning. And we ended up deciding, okay, so if we have this many people here, we need this many casseroles, and we would just get all the casseroles together the night before and then just stick them in the oven at the kitchen while sunrise service was going on.
Oh,
and then
boom,
right after sunrise service is over, everybody's getting in line and you're having breakfast casserole. So, I mean, plans for you if you want to, to bring that back. You're going to bring back the egg hunt.
I wonder how receptive folks would be to that. That sounds like a really special time, though.
It was, and I like thinking about it. I don't know that I want to do it again.
Sure, yeah.
All right, so all that to say that
Easter's great. We love Easter.
This year on Palm Sunday,
yes,
which is April 13th.
Yep.
We're going to be doing church a little different.
Yeah.
And we're going to be incorporating an egg hunt on our Sunday morning. So walk us through April 13th in the morning. Tell us what church is going to be like.
Sure. So first of all, there is going to be a little bit of setup going on. Okay, firstly, I should clarify this. There's going to be one worship service on Sunday, April 13th, Palm Sunday, and that takes place at 9 o'clock in the morning, so which is one of our normal times, but there won't be the 10:45 service on that day, so just the 9 o'clock service, and all kids are going to be in the service with their parents, so it's probably going to be a packed house. So
we are going to be packed out.
Get tight together, yes, for sure. And so following the 9 o'clock service, there's going to be a little bit of time. If you want to stick around, you're welcome to. Or if you want to go take care of something real quick, if you need to run the kids home to change or grab Easter baskets, whatever you need to do, that's fine. But the plan is for the egg hunt to start at 11 o'clock. And part of the rationale behind that is we're hoping to have things wrapped up around 12 or 12:30. There's going to be, spoiler alert, there's going to be food trucks here. So if you want food here, you're absolutely welcome to do that. But if you want to take the kids somewhere else, it's not too late in the day to be doing that. So it starts at 11 o'clock and the goal is to go to around 12:30. And kind of the layout of what the egg hunt is going to look like is, so at 11 o'clock, you will be coming to the church and you will come in the main doors. And inside the lobby, we're going to have some folks at a table that are going to kind of direct folks to go where they need to go. Because before the egg hunt happens, we have like a brief teaching moment just to kind of make Palm Sunday special and to explain to kids like why we're even doing all of this. And it's fairly brief. And so for that part of the egg hunt and for the actual egg hunting activities and stuff, kids are grouped by age level. So that way you don't have, a fifth grader going 0 to 100 with your little teeny tiny toddler next door. So it'll be preschool will be one group, and then there will be a kindergarten through second grade group and a third grade through fifth grade group. So all kids fifth grade and under for the egg hunt. And so the folks in the lobby will tell you which gym to go to if you're going to the central complex here off the lobby or down to the other end to the FLC. We'll engage in some teaching time that we get to interact with your kids and kind of do some fun stuff with them. And then we will go out probably the FLC doors and escort you past food trucks and down to the field, which is where the egg hunts will take place. And so all kids, even though they'll be hunting in quote unquote different areas, will be visible for parents. If you have a second grader and then a fifth grader, you'll still be able to see them. So that'll all be together. And then following that, like I said, there's going to be food trucks if you want to stay and enjoy some food and just fellowship. And then for your kids, there's also going to be some inflatables that are going to be here and a petting zoo too. So lots going on.
Well, I think that's great that you brought that up because a lot of times when people think egg hunt, they're like 5 minutes and it's over.
Right, in and out.
Boom, everybody just picked up the eggs. They're all gone. It took 3 hours to set it up and 5 minutes to tear it down.
That's true. And 3 hours of cleanup afterwards.
But this is different than just an egg hunt.
Yeah.
So they're coming into the lobby. When they get into the lobby, they're going to find out whether they're going to the Central Complex gym, which is where kids ministry normally is
on Sundays, yes.
And then the other gym, which we refer to as the FLC, which is short for Family Life Center, is down farther down in the building close to the end where the school is.
Yes.
That's that gym down there.
Yep.
So they will be in one of those two areas, and then they'll dismiss from there, and people are going out that exit down there towards
the field,
property. And which we have our new playground down there. And we'll be having the egg hunt, and you had mentioned a couple of food trucks. Do we know
who they are?
Yeah, at least a couple.
Yes. So so one of them is tortilla, which is Mexican food. That's probably where I'm going to be going, Joe. Although there's also Peatabilities, which is fitting because Easter is a celebration that takes place in the New Testament, which is the Greek translation, and Peatabilities is kind of like the Greek food. But so both of those guys will be there. Still waiting to hear back from a few others, so that's the only two that I can confirm for sure right now, Joe.
Trying to get some desserts in there if we can.
I'm hoping.
All right. So we at least have those two coming, maybe some more.
Yeah.
And what were some of the, you said there was inflatables as well?
Oh, yeah. Okay, let me see. I'm trying to remember. I think there's going to be a giant slide and an obstacle course, I'm pretty sure, and probably a small bounce house for the little kids.
Nice. And you had also mentioned the petting zoo. So what's that like? So
I've talked with the Coopers from Cooper's Knoll Farms, which they came to Springfest last year, and they were a huge hit.
Yeah.
I believe they had goats last year at Springfest, and I mean, when I went out there to check out the petting zoo, I'm like, I don't want to go anywhere else because they had a Highland cow then too. But this is an exciting time for them as they're welcoming some new animals into their farm, and so I think they might be bringing some goats. I don't want to say too much and put them on the hook for anything because I still got to square up all the details with them. But the family is great. Richard and Gina are the best, and I'm sure that their petting zoo is just going to be awesome. And kids love that kind of thing. I'm excited for them too.
All right. So do people need to register ahead of time, or they can just show up, or how does this work?
Listen, Joe, there are a lot of eggs that are being stuffed as it stands right now. I think we're probably going to have an abundance. But there's no registration. You can just kind of come and we're going to clarify this as it gets closer, and there will be signage and stuff for sure. But the main entrance, the entrance to the church closest to the entrance to the property is where people will come in, and that way we'll make sure everyone gets going with their age group where they need to go. But just show up, which makes things easy for everyone at home. Bring your friends. Even if they don't know if they're going to be free or not right now, if they're free that day, bring them on over. We'd love to meet them and get to know them and just celebrate Palm Sunday with them.
So we've been talking a lot about everything that's going to happen then and the great thing that you can be involved in.
Yeah.
What about the other side of it? Do you need some help? Do you need some volunteers? Do you need some help in getting the word out? How can we do that?
Yeah, that's great questions, Joe.
That's why I'm here.
You always know the right stuff to ask. So there are a few things that we need. Speaking to our folks that are part of this church and looking for an opportunity to serve, there's plenty of ways to do that. We're going to need people to help kind of lead the teaching stations, which is going to be a little bit more involved. But if you like kids, that's a criteria that's necessary in this case.
Yes.
And would like to help serve at the egg hunt, please let me know. We also have on April 6th a Shepnaz Kids team meeting here at the church in the fireside room after church at 1:30, I'm pretty sure. And that meeting is kind of like a quarterly meeting for our team, but also if you want to hear more information about how you can serve at the egg hunt, I'll be sharing that then. So you can come to that meeting on April 6th, which is the week before, for further details, or you can just reach out to me, and I'd love to talk to you about ways that we could use your help, because we could, and I'm sure you would probably love to. So, and okay, what was the other thing you asked? Oh, how can we get the word out? Yeah. Well, invite your neighbors, invite your kids. You can probably just bring them. Family, for sure. Invite your family, people in your neighborhood, like other parents that you might know and their kids, maybe friends from school. Make sure everybody from church is coming, definitely. But also, we're going to try and get some flyers to the church for folks to hand out between now and then to like personally invite people, because this is a special event. And as we were kind of reminiscing about times talking about Easter in the past, and it all, Palm Sunday being the week before, it all is moving towards or from the same crucial moment in our faith, in this thing that we're celebrating every year, which is basically the biggest like feast and celebration in the Christian church, and the resurrection of Christ. And so this is something that we want to celebrate with a lot of people. So,
yeah. Well, and we know just historically that people are most responsive to a personal invitation.
Yeah.
But they're going to see a lot of ads. We're going to make sure stuff is out on social media. We're going to try to be pushing flyers out. And that's definitely going to pique some interest. I think there'll be some people that'll be like, I wonder what's going on there. But when somebody also connects with them personally and says, hey, I'm going to be going, you want to come with us? That takes it to a whole different level, because now it's like, okay, I know it's good for me to be there because somebody's asking me to be there.
Yeah. And this is maybe kind of a soapbox moment, Joe, but like, we don't invite people to stuff like this because the church is just a place where programs take place. We invite people to stuff like this because the church is, at least part of its role, is the relational community of God's people. And so we're inviting people into that community, into that relationship. And so it's not just like a program, something that we want to invite people to. Like, however many people come is however many people come, Joe, whatever.
Right.
But it feels almost like unauthentic to say, just because I feel like we say it so much, but like, we want to get to know people. And there's people around here, people that live near you guys, people that live near our church that don't know what this community is about, that don't know the love of Christ or might not have a relationship with him. And this is a crucial part of the story that we're inviting them in to celebrate with. And that's something that's done relationally. And it's not just a program. It's just not a thing that we do. Like, it's important in preparation for us to look at the reason behind what we're celebrating. And so it's not just something that we advertise because we're bored and we don't have anything else to do. And we hope that you don't just invite people just so that they have something to do on April 13th. Anyways, that was my soapbox moment.
All right. Sounds good. Well, certainly we hope that as you're hearing this, that you'll be challenged to share this with your friends and family members and make that invitation and make that connection. Remember, it is going to be on Sunday, April 13th. We're having worship service at 9:00. The egg hunt is at 11.
Yep.
You can also check out the details at shepnaz.org. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. You'll be seeing some ads on that. Like those and share those to help spread the word. For Pastor Brett, I'm Joe. Have a great day. This podcast is a production of the Shepherd Church of the Nazarene, Gahanna, Ohio. Email to podcast@shepnaz.org and let us know what you think.